Hey guys, how y'all doing today? It's February the 19th, 2024. And today I'm going to talk about what I was speaking about yesterday about self-love. And I know I've talked about this many times, about how you have to love yourself in order to quit drinking or stop using drugs. I know in the past that when I initially tried quitting drinking multiple times, that I did it for other people. And, it'd either be for my wife because I promised her that I would stop, or I did it because I wanted to do it for my kids. And these are all important reasons. I'm not saying that, that you shouldn't stop if you have a family and you want to improve things in your life. But at the same time, you have to love yourself. And without that, I'm not saying that you can't succeed without doing so, because there are people that have. But at the same time, I think it's really important for you to love yourself in order to be successful in stopping the drinking and or using the drugs. Like I said, I tried over and over and over again to do it for other people. I was doing it for my mom, my dad, or I was doing it for my wife, or I was, doing it for my job or whatever. And it just never worked out. And it took until I almost lost my life until I realized that I really, really wanted to be here. When I was laying in the hospital bed, it was one of those things where it was a slap in the face, and it woke me up to the reality of the fact that, what I was actually doing to myself all this time. It's one of those things where you keep thinking to yourself, it's not going to be me. It's going to, I'm not that guy. That's what happens to other people. It's never going to be me. And I thought that for the longest time. I thought I was invincible. It's never going to happen to me. Until it did. And when I was laying there sick, the doctors had told me, we're going to do our best to save your life, but we don't know if we can. That's when I really had to sit there and think to myself, like, I can't believe I did this to myself. And I knew I had, and I'm not trying to push the blame off on anybody else here. All I'm saying, I'm blaming myself for this, for what I did to myself. But once again, I had to lay there in that bed and realize that I didn't want to leave yet. I wanted to be here, and I really wanted to be me. So with that said, talking about self-love, the first and foremost that I want to say to you guys is that you matter. You really do. You're here for a reason, and sometimes we don't ever realize what that reason is while we're here. But there's a reason for us all to be here, and I've said this before, but everything happens for a reason, and sometimes we don't know what those reasonings are. It's like the fact that I got sick, but here I am now doing these YouTube videos. I would have never ever thought that I would be here doing this now. Never. If I look back 3 years ago and where I was at mentally then, there's no way I would have ever imagined that I would be sitting here talking with people, thousands of people, about addiction and alcoholism. I just never thought that would have happened. But now I know that I'm here for a reason, and I have purpose, and so do you. You have purpose, and you might not know exactly what that is right this second, but maybe later on down the road you might figure out, or you might not ever know. But I promise you, you're here for a reason, and you need to gain appreciation for yourself, because, like I said, you're important. Appreciate who you are. Like I said, you just don't know what that reason is, why you're here. I was just looking up something. There's a Chinese philosopher named Lao Tzu, and he had a quote that said, "Care what others think about you, and you will always be their prisoner." And that is like a super important quote right there. I think we all spend too much time concerned about what other people think about us. instead of thinking about what's important to us. And you can't worry about what other people think about you. I know that we've made a lot of mistakes, and you know, some of you maybe not, but I know myself, and I know a lot of you have, and we've done things that we regret, and we wish we could take it back, but we can't. And we can't sit around thinking about what other people think about us and beating ourselves up. You know, don't worry about that. And don't become a prisoner of somebody else by sitting around and wallowing in worrying about what someone else has said about you or what someone else might think about you. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. Does it really? It doesn't. And with that said, be your own authentic self. Be who you are. And I know, like, if you think back to like your teenage years, imagine back in those days when you're confused and you didn't know who you were, and we were all struggling and trying to figure out our identity. And as we get older in life, we start to realize who we are. But when we're in the grasp of addiction and alcoholism, we start to lose sight of that. And it's hard to remember who we are and who our authentic self is. But I promise you that if you remove the alcohol or the drugs away from your life, you'll start to realize who you actually really are. It took me a long time to start to realize that. And like I've said before, is that I used to be a really quiet and reserved person when I was younger, and then I got into the alcohol, and you know, it turned me into somebody else. I wasn't being me. I wasn't being my authentic self. I was portraying myself to be who I thought that I wanted to be instead of being who I really was. And that caused a lot of problems for me. It caused a lot of depression. It caused a lot of anxiety. And I was constantly worried about what other people thought instead of just focusing on me and who I am. Remove the negative thoughts out of your head. Don't give them the time of day. We all have that voice in the back of our head that's always telling us things. You know, that voice in the back of our head's always talking. And it's the same voice that's in there that's telling you, hey, get that next drink. You know you deserve it. Don't listen to that. Don't listen to those negative thoughts that are always in the back of your head. Push them to the side. And remember the goal and where you're trying to go. And that's the most important part. Forgiving yourself. This is one of the most important things that we have to do. And I know I've talked about this at length. I've talked about this in all kinds of different videos. Forgiving myself for the things that I did, you know, not showing my children attention because I was so focused on the alcohol, not showing my family and my wife attention, not putting forth enough effort in all kinds of different areas because I was so concerned about getting drunk and my drinking. But we have to forgive ourselves. We've all made mistakes, but we can't continue to beat ourselves up about it. It's time just to let those chains go and forget about it. You have to be able to move forward. This is all part of that self-love that I've been talking about. Until you forgive yourself for the mistakes that we made in the past, you're never going to be able to move forward. So forgive yourself. It's okay. We're human beings. We all make mistakes. I promise you, it's okay. Everybody has made a mistake. You know, there's a saying, you know, whoever is without sin, throw the first stone. And that rings so true. Because we're all sinners and we all make mistakes and we all have done things that we regret. But it's time to let go. Cut those chains off and just move on. Self-reflection. Keeping a journal. The days when you're not feeling good or you're having a bad day, get a journal, write it down. What triggered you to feel bad? Why are you depressed? Think about those things. Write it down. That way you can go back later on and you can reflect on it, and then you can start to see and figure out the problems that you're having and why that you're having these roadblocks that's keeping you from loving yourself. Taking care of you. Do what makes you happy. And stop worrying about what others think. Like I said, once again, if it's something that makes you happy, if it's not hurting other people, go for it. Don't worry about what other people think. And I'm not making a joke here. I'm being really serious. I hope that you guys don't take what I'm going to say the wrong way. But if your idea of fun and something that you enjoy doing, if it's, you know, dressing up in a tiger suit, if that's what makes you happy and it's not hurting anybody else, stop worrying about what other people think. Do what makes you happy. As long as it's not hurting anybody else, be yourself. Be authentic. That's the steps to self-love. Setting boundaries. And this is something I know that I have a really hard time with, and I'm sure that a lot of you out there do as well. But setting those boundaries in place. If there's a person, place, or thing that is upsetting us, remove it. There's no need to keep on those negative ties in our life that are holding us back from becoming our true self. Remove those negative things from your life. If there's a person in your life who's just constantly dragging you down, they're constantly putting you down, remove them. If there's a thing in your life that's constantly bringing you down, remove it. If it's a place, remove it. But there's so many things in our life that are holding us back. And I know for a fact that I am horrible at setting boundaries. My whole life, I've never been good at setting boundaries. I was always that guy that when somebody would ask me to do something, I would never, if it was too much for me to do, I'd never say, I can't get that done. Especially in my work environment. I was always that guy that just took all the load on my back. I never set any boundaries. I never said no. I never said that's too much. And I always overloaded myself. And then guess what I ended up doing? I ended up getting upset with myself for not setting the correct boundaries. And then I would resort to drinking to try to solve that and try to make myself feel better. Instead of just taking that first step and just saying, this is where I am, this is what I can do, this is how I feel. If you disrespect this or whatever, if you cross these lines, then I'm going to have to remove you out of my life. But these are the things that are so important. And I know that for me, setting boundaries is one of the hardest things I've had to do. And I'm still struggling with that right now. I still struggle with setting boundaries, but it's so important to do. Set those boundaries in your life. Surround yourself with positive people. I mean, if you're around a bunch of negative people all the time, it's going to be hard to feel good about you. If there's all these negative people around you all the time, they're always down and they're always upset about something. I know, I've been around those people before in my life. They will drag you down. Remove those people out of your life. You don't need them. Surround yourself with good, positive people. There are so many good, positive people in the comments section here and that are subscribers to this channel. So many positive people. If you go in there and drop a comment, there's going to be 10 people that are going to hop in there and they're going to help you out. They're going to reinforce what you're trying to do. The comment section here is a bunch of positive people in your life, in your town, wherever you're at. Surround yourself with good people. And if there's a lot of negative people around, just get them out of your life. That's self-love, is making sure that you're around the kind of people that you want to be around. Self-care, meditation, exercise, good diet, and talking to yourself in a positive way. These are all good ways of self-care, how we take care of ourselves and make ourselves feel better at the end of the day. Going out for a nice walk, that's self-care, that's self-love. You're taking care of your body, you're exercising, you're getting your endorphins going, you're going to feel better, you're going to sleep better at night, getting a good diet, you're getting the proper nutrients in that you need every single day, and you're going to feel better because you're eating properly. These are all methods of self-love as well, because you're taking care of the body that you were given. Pat yourself on the back for how far you've come. Hey, if you've made it 6 weeks and you relapsed, still pat yourself on the back. You have done the impossible. Don't beat yourself up for that one little slip up. Just keep moving forward. It's okay. But pat yourself on the back. You're doing a good job. Just by watching this video right here, you're making the steps to trying to improve yourself. And take care of you. What is it that makes you happy? What do you want out of life? Think about those things. Write them down. I've talked about this before. Write a list. Write the things that you want to see happen in your life. You know, they say that when we take a piece of paper and we write it down, that we can manifest things to happen in our life. And it's true. If you write it down and you look at that piece of paper every single day and you keep that positive energy in your mind, that is self-love. That's taking care of yourself. Be adaptive to change. You know, the one constant that we have in life is change. And I know sometimes change is really hard to embrace, but it's just part of life. And I know myself, that's one of the things that I have a hard time with is when I encounter change, I tend to push against it because I don't want it to happen. But we have to embrace it and we have to bring it in. Change is going to happen. Change is stopping drinking or stopping using drugs, but that's a positive change. There's all kinds of changes that happen in our life, and we have to be receptive to that and stop trying to push against it. Just let it happen. Change is part of the natural life cycle that we are in. And remember that what doesn't kill us only makes us stronger. For you guys that are out there right now that have dealt with addiction or alcoholism, and you have been through so much in your life. And I know, because I've been there too, and it's such a struggle. And if you've stopped, or you're thinking about stopping, or if you've quit and you've gone a long period of time without drinking, or even a short period of time, you're doing so good for yourself. You are making the right steps to taking care of you. And that is the most important part. So, with that said, guys, remember to love yourself. Love who you are. I know there's things that we're going to be upset with ourselves about, and we're going to beat ourselves up about it, but just go ahead and just move on from it and don't worry about that anymore. You know, like I said, right now, just by watching this video, you're already taking steps. And I'm proud of you for that. And with that said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here for today, but remember, you are important, and you have a purpose and a reason for being here. And take care of yourself. Just remember that, like I said, you are here for a purpose. You might not know what that is right this second, but you might find out later on. You might not ever know, but I promise you, you are here for a reason. Love you. Until tomorrow's video, guys. I'll see y'all then. Bye-bye.